here he is, the man himself, to respond. Jonathan Gruber, thanks for joining us. Are you still saying that that the implosion and the unraveling of Obamacare is all the fault of a president who's been in office all of 120 days?
What I'm saying is, first of all, Obamacare is not imploding and unraveling. Second of all, what I'm saying is that Obamacare last year had a one-time price increase, which stabilized the markets, insurer profits were trending positive, and nowhere in the country is left without an insurer. Well, since President Trump, let me finish. Since President Trump's been elected, multiple insurance executives have said that the uncertainty he's injected in the market has made it impossible for them to stay in the exchanges and caused them to raise prices. I'm just pointing out the facts.
With all due respect, I look at every single earnings report from these guys, and they have not said that. What really happened, let's be quite frank with this, is that Obamacare provided cover for insurance companies the first couple of years, and the taxpayer paid off any losses that they had to absorb. I guess you guys tried to buy time for a better deal, but that never materialized, and so one by one, insurance companies walked away from this because they were losing a lot of money.
That's absolutely wrong. So Obamacare had an insurer reinsurance feature, but actually it was never paid out. Republicans blocked it, despite the fact the AHCA has an even bigger payment of the exact same type. So you can't say that the government was bailing these insurers out. In fact, the government never honored those obligations, which is why insurers had to raise prices.
What I can say is that there are many counties and towns and a lot of states with one, some even zero insurers right now. How did that happen? And by the way, it all didn't happen in the last three months.
First of all, there's nowhere with zero right now. There are places with one. That's absolutely true, and that happens in a dynamic market. People come and they go. If there's one insurer and they're making money, new insurers will enter. Why would they go? Because it's a volatile new market. Any new market, people are trying to make it in the market. Sometimes they leave, sometimes they come in. That's the free market at work. You're supposed to like that. You're supposed to like the fact that in any free market, there's entry and exit until the market stabilizes. The market was not yet stable. But nothing in the current Republican law stabilizes that market. It only makes it worse.
I want you to listen to a guest we had on yesterday, Cheryl Chumley, and she talked about the ordeal that her husband went through and what would have happened if he was on Obamacare.
In April of 2008, my husband suffered a massive heart attack. While en route in the helicopter, his potassium levels dropped and he fell into a coma. He stayed in that coma for 10 days. We ran into a nurse a few months after that care. If my husband had been on Medicaid, Medicare, some sort of government-run health care program, the hospital would have pulled the plug after maybe the third day.
What do you make of her comments, Jonathan?
Well, first of all, she's wrong. They would not pull the plug on someone in Medicare or Medicaid. It is absolutely true that some people in America have better health care than others. And if people can afford that, that's great. The question is, why does taking Medicaid away from people who can't afford an alternative make that better? Look, if people are rich enough to afford health care where they can get helicopters take them where they need to be, that's great. That is fine with me. But it does not mean that we need to take away the lifeline for Americans who can't afford that kind of care.
But here's the problem, though. The people on the other end of the spectrum, your bill not only forced them to pay for a product they couldn't afford, if they decided to skip out on it, they were penalized for it. So people were buying these products they didn't need. Men were getting coverage for things that elements that affect women. There were these extraordinary packages that young people had to get that they really didn't need. I mean, this was, let's be honest, this is really a redistribution of wealth, wasn't it?
Look, you raised a couple different issues there. Let's talk about the maternity issue. Everyone talks about that. Maternity coverage is a very small part of the cost of health care. If you think that the problem with Obamacare is that young people and men are forced to cover maternity, great. Let's get rid of it. Let's have that debate. But in that debate, admit that what you want to do is make pregnant women pay more for health insurance. If you want to admit that, then great. Let's have that debate. Let's not have the artificial debate the Republicans want to have, where they say, oh, young people had to pay more, young people had to pay more, without admitting old people paid less. Now, if you don't like that and you want to undo that redistribution and say, no, old people should pay more, so young people pay less, that's a total legitimate debate to have.
Right. Well, I think they're having that in the Senate right now. They're having it in the House. And I'm glad you talked about having it in the open because, to your point, you said before that a lack of transparency was a huge political advantage. So hopefully this time it will be transparent and the American public will get to watch it and opine on it every step of the way. Jonathan, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.